people counted us out. We've been down, and we've always stuck together and got the job done.
They are no strangers to this predicament. Over the last 2 seasons, the Rockets have faced elimination 8 times, but were never eliminated. But the 2-time defending champions now face a task that has never been achieved in NBA history. To stay alive, they must win 4 straight games. But if nothing else, recent history has taught us this about these Rockets.
I have one thing to say to those non-believers. Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion.
Hot, muggy day in Houston, Texas. It could get even hotter here in the Summit as the Seattle Sonics try to close out the Houston Rockets in this best-of-7 Western Conference semifinal series. Seattle comes in with a 3-0 lead. The signs inside the Houston dressing room will tell you that there is no surrender in the 2-time defending champions. The fans have arrived with signs that say, "Believe it." And on the doors inside, people believe it can be done. Feed your faith, your doubts will starve. The Rockets will have the fans behind them as they look to survive against a team that's had their number for a long time now. I'm Greg Gumbel along with Bill Walton. We'll have Game 4 coming up in just a moment.
These are just the beginning.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by New Miller Beer, the brand new beer from Miller with big flavor that goes down easy. By Acura, who invite you to test drive the new CL Luxury Sports Coupe. And by Sprite. Image is nothing. Thirst is everything. Obey your thirst. Sprite.
Welcome back to Houston, where, at least from the fans, you can't tell the Rockets are down 3-0. Here are the starting lineups. Detlef Schrempf, Sean Kemp, flank Irvin Johnson in the middle of the Sonics lineup on the front line. Gary Payton, Hersey Hawkins in the backcourt. Robert Horry and Chucky Brown alongside Hakeem Olajuwon up front for the Rockets with Clyde Drexler and Kenny Smith. Along the sidelines this afternoon is Hannah Storm. Hannah.
Sam Cassell has been a huge factor in the Rockets' 2 championship runs, but not in this series, Greg. He's shooting only 19%, averaging only 7 points, half of what he does in the regular season. And he told me before the game that's a direct result of his surgically repaired right elbow, which was injured during Game 1. He said he's intensely frustrated. He's lost almost all the strength in that elbow. He's unsure of his shooting, unable to take his opponents off the dribble. But he said he has been hiding from his teammates exactly how hurting he is. He says he may not have much to give today other than his trademark enthusiasm, but he will give it his all in this perhaps final game of the season. Greg?
All right, Hannah. Bill Walton, you have to say that for Rudy Tomjanovich, the last couple of years, Sam Cassell has been an important weapon coming off the bench. He's shooting just 4 for 21 against the Sonics so far.
But this is a championship squad, Houston, that will not look to excuses of injuries and problems. Their biggest problems have been late in games, have been their failure to execute in the set offense. Houston has to create a seed of doubt in Seattle's mind, which is playing with terrific confidence right now.
Hersey Hawkins comes up shooting and misses. Robert Horry.
A little bit of a different wrinkle. You don't see cross screens for Hakeem very often.
Chucky Brown open, misses the shot, and Johnson has the rebound.
Chucky Brown has been playing well for the Rockets. Really, the numbers for all the Rockets are good, except for Hakeem.
Sean Kemp spins and scores on Brown. Sean Kemp averaging over 17.5 points a game in the postseason.
Look how they're double teaming, trying to get the ball out of Kenny Smith's hands, and then they rotate back so perfectly.
That's tapped out of bounds by Hawkins, and it's Houston ball. Let's go back to the other end.
The Seattle forwards have dominated Horry and Chucky Brown. Sean Kemp and Detlef Schrempf have gotten whatever they wanted on the low box, and Sean Kemp has even taken it right at Hakeem, which is highly unusual.
Shot clock is down to 5. Kenny Smith out of the corner. And Chucky Brown fouled as he grabbed the offensive rebound. The Rockets have been averaging just 36 rebounds a game against Seattle in the first 3 games of this series.
The Rockets, never a great rebounding team statistically, have not out-rebounded a single opponent in this year's playoff run. You look at how these games have gone, the 13 points, a lot of that is from game 1, which was a 30-point blowout. The other 2 games came right down to the last minute of the game. The shooting has been a phenomenal edge for Seattle.
Johnson recovers at center court. Shrimp open and hits. Dead left Shrimp.
Again, we see the forwards for Seattle the same way we're seeing the forwards for Utah take apart the centers. Kemp, Shrimp, Karl Malone.
Kenny Smith for 3. And Horry has the rebound. Olajuwon in the lane.
Hakeem Olajuwon, who went to the foul line 11 times, has been doing too much fading. Oh, that's just horrible defense by the Houston Rockets. Sean Kemp's game is going to the basket. You've got to do everything you can to make him fade, to make him double clutch.
Olajuwon underneath, tapped out of bounds by Sean Kemp.
Hakeem and Clyde Drexler in this series have as many turnovers as they have assists. That is not good offense and very good defense.
The lob for Robert Horry. We're tied at 6.
Since game 1, it's been Clyde Drexler head-to-head, man-to-man on Gary Payton.
Hawkins goes cross-court to Kemp. Shot clock at 7. Kemp turnaround. Got it. Sean Kemp with 6 quick points. 6 of the first 8 for Seattle, and the Sonics lead it by 2.
Sean Kemp's only been shooting 42% in the series, but he's off to a very good start, going strong to the hoop, no fading.
That one goes through Payton's hands, and the Rockets come back. Chucky Brown batted away and out of bounds to Houston. Percy Hawkins quick on the defensive end.
This has been the poorest start for the Houston Rockets. Yes, they've made some nice plays, but in the first 3 games, which they all end up losing at the end, they were perfect.
Drexler too long, and Chucky Brown with the rebound. New 24 for Houston. No double team, and now Payton comes over. Lost the ball. Percy Hawkins picks it up, and the foul. Drexler.
There's the double team when Hakeem gets that ball up above his head and then tries to bring it back down. He loses time, and that allows the Seattle Supersonics, the Sonics, which have led the NBA in steals the last 4 years, to come up with their trademark generator of offense, their defense.
Kemp. Sean Kemp is 4 for 4 from the floor. The Sonics are 5 of 6 and lead now by 4 with 8.5 to play in the first. And Drexler draws a foul at the offensive end. That'll be Hersey Hawkins, and that's number 2 on Hawkins.
Hannah was mentioning earlier about the injury to Sam Cassell. Clyde Drexler is not feeling so great himself. He's the guy that came off knee surgery. There's Sam Cassell on the bench. A serious decline in point production in all 3 games. Just 2 in the last game.
Hakeem again.
But look how he's going to the hoop. In the first 2 games, he only shot 1 free throw. Last game, 11 free throws. None of this fading away stuff for the big man today. He's going right to the basket. And now Hakeem is matched up against Sean Kemp.
Payton steps back. Gary Payton has been outstanding in this series.
First game, 28 points. Second game, 21. Third game here Friday night, 28 points again for Payton. His offense, his ability to get whatever he wants.
And an illegal defense call. George Karl, happy 45th birthday for George Karl today.
You look at this illegal defense with Robert Horry spread way out on the left side of your screen, talking to Joe Crawford. The Sonics in the lane.
Kemp with the rebound off the Olajuwon miss.
But the Sonics and the Chicago Bulls, they're able to extend their defense, and all this complaining about illegal defenses and zone defenses, I think is just that, hogwash.
Rare miss for the Sonics. Olajuwon spins, got fouled, and will shoot 2. Hakeem Olajuwon, a 6-point game in the first game blowout, and has worked hard to make amends for that since.
You see him moving, you see him going for the ball. That's the Hakeem Olajuwon we've come to expect, as he's led this team to 2 straight championships. But you look, the numbers there, 15.5 points a game. Hakeem Olajuwon, a horrible percentage. The numbers this season, regular season, in the playoffs, but just 15.5 per game in this series. You're talking about one of the great playoff performers in history, up at the top of virtually every statistical category.
2-point lead for Seattle, 7:20 to play in the first period. Rockets must win to play again. Payton. Back of the rim, 2 straight misses for Payton. The all-long outlet tapped out of bounds by Urban Johnson. It'll be Houston basketball. Remember, the Rockets have lost 12 straight games to the Seattle Sonics, but in postseason, the Rockets are 10-1 when faced with elimination. The last time they lost one to Seattle in '93.
Greg, of those 12 games that they've lost in a row, 8 of them have been by 6 points or fewer. So we're talking about 2 teams that play great basketball right down to the very end, and then one team, and it always seems to be Seattle. And talking to George Karl before the game, he's amazed that Seattle's able to win every single one, because the Sonics, to a man, as well as a lot of other people in the NBA, feel that the Houston Rockets are the best clutch team in all of basketball, as they've shown the last 2 years in winning the championship.
Rockets have never beaten the Sonics in the postseason. Played them in the playoffs 4 times and are 0-4. We're tied at 12, just under 7 minutes to play for the first quarter. Shrimp draws the double team. Nate McMillan down the lane. Scoop doesn't go, and the follow by Sean Kemp. Kemp has 10.
Perfect basketball for Seattle. McMillan into the lane. Rudy needs a timeout, but when you throw that ball up over the center as McMillan attacks Hakeem, then Hakeem's man comes right in and slams it home.
Kemp has 10 of Seattle's 14. It's a 2-point Seattle lead. We'll come back to the Summit in a moment.
Catch Inside Stuff Saturday mornings on NBC.
Will that be paper or plastic? Sir? Sir? Paper? Plastic?
Well, at least you know how to get the groceries home. The always dependable Accord from Honda. Possibly the world's easiest decision.
Getting on top of your financial situation is tougher than ever. What you need is MetLife. We can help you get a grip on things and help you make sense of it all. Get Met. It pays.
Looking for something?
Yeah, that dime from Sprint's long distance plan.
Having trouble finding it, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's because depending on when you call, the Sprint Cents rate isn't always a dime. It could be a quarter or 65 cents on calls to Canada.
Oh.
Try AT&T True Reach Savings. On average, most people can save more than with Sprint Cents when they spend $25 a month on calls in the U.S. Plus, you'll always save more on calls to Canada.
Wow, I found what I'm looking for.
That's your true choice, AT&T.
Rust-Oleum, the ultimate defense against weather.
Oh, Bill, did I tell you what Patty said that Rachel heard about what Mark said about Patty? Well, Bill, are you listening? Anyway, Patty ran into Rachel, who had run into Mark at a party. So, according to Bill, are you listening to me or to the game?
5 ticks left on the clock. Missiles down by 1. Just a reminder, this game brought to you by Miller Lite. When you've got the great taste of an ice-cold Miller Lite, life is good. Smith inbounds to Wakeman through the paint. Tomahawk jam. Yes!
The basketball mania is still very much alive here in Houston. Welcome back, everyone. Greg Gumbel along with Bill Walton. Mentioned before that the Rockets have lost 12 straight games to the Seattle Sonics, 19 of 23. Why is that?
Greg, Akeem Olajuwon, who's been the best basketball player in the world the last few years, has not been able to figure out a way to beat this Seattle Supersonic team because the matchups are so very, very difficult. As he tries to play against smaller, quicker guys who are always underneath them, running around like little pests, he's just got to slap them away a little bit, push him off, get to the hoop, and be the determinant factor in these games.
Well, the steel-crazy Seattle Sonics almost got one there with Sean Kemp stepping in front of the pass. It's still Houston basketball. 14-12 Seattle.
It's much easier for Akeem to play against Shaq and David Robinson and then outplay them and make big plays down the clutch when he has to play against these guys who shoot the three-point shots so easily, like Perkins and Rakowski as centers. And of course, Detlef Schrempf has just been killing guys, too.
That one blocked by Johnson. And Schrempf going to slow him down and wait for everybody else. Kemp to the free throw line and then back out front.
Seattle and the Lakers, the two teams that Houston has had to play in the first 2 rounds, are the toughest teams in the Western Conference for Houston to play against.
Schrempf just came up short on that shot, and the Rockets come back looking for the tie. Drexler all the way across to Ori, open for 3.
And another factor why Akeem has such trouble, because he's not in his normal defensive position against Seattle. He's not just camping out in the lane, playing against a big, strong banger going to the basket. He's always finding himself underneath the hoop or out in the perimeter, and he just can't be that great shot blocker, that great rebounder that we've come to expect from the Dream.
Boy, Sean Kemp has come out smoking this afternoon. He is 6 for 6, has 12 points, and a 4-point Seattle lead with 5:20 to play in the first.
And you see the confidence, the poise that Seattle is playing with. George Karl has done a masterful job of bringing this team.
Shot clock at 3. Ori has to hurry his shot. It won't go down, and Johnson has the rebound. Here comes Payton. 3-on-2. Kemp on the baseline. And so far, the Rockets have not found a solution for the problem that is Sean Kemp.
And we see something already in game 4 to start here. Drexler finally makes a layup for the Rockets, but at the end of game 3, the Rockets are starting to look around and point fingers and say, hey, why aren't you doing something out here?
Johnson. Tap no good. And foul goes against the Rockets. Loose ball.
Sean Kemp from the perimeter extends Akeem's defense, bringing him away from his comfort zone. And then Sean Kemp just running out. There has been no answer for either Kemp or Schrempf. Kemp has done it in transition on defense. Sean Kemp leading this series in rebounding, been posting up Akeem at will. And then Detlef Schrempf. Whenever they needed a basket, no one's been able to slow him down.
2 fouls now on Clyde Drexler. Sam Perkins into the game for the Sonics. Schrempf with the turnaround.
Talking to Robert Horry before the game about guarding these forwards like Schrempf and Kemp. Said they've just been making incredibly tough shots, Bill.
Payton with the defense. Drexler had to force the shot.
Nate McMillan doing all the little things.
Kemp lost that one. Smith on McMillan. And he'll shoot 2. So Houston with a little defense of their own as they trail by 4 as we're under the 4-minute mark for the first quarter.
Sean Kemp double teamed and he just throws a bad pass, a soft pass, the floating passes that the Rockets have been throwing throughout this series, and looks like a lot of ball there. The fans complaining about excessive aggressiveness by McMillan. Certainly not the case. Kenny Smith coming off his best game. The average in the playoffs are decent for Kenny Smith. Last game, 27 points, 11 rebounds, played the entire 48 minutes, but in the second half was really a non-factor after a perfect first half where he had 22 points. The Rockets need Kenny Smith's outside shooting.
Smith with 5 3-pointers in that game. A 115-112 loss here in the Summit.
Gary Payton has become such a disciplined offensive player.
Shrimp. And Kemp is there for the foul.
And that's the same play. The Houston Rocket defense is not rotating properly. When Akeem goes for blocks, you're talking about the greatest shot blocker in the history of basketball by the numbers. They're not picking up his man when he goes for that block. That's the guards and forwards' responsibility.
Ori put the ball on the ground, almost lost it, tied up, and now out front to Mario Ellie. Mark Bryant. Had it stripped. Another steal. Payton. Tried to drop it for Shrimp, and Shrimp has to go back for it. Kemp down the lane, and a trap.
George Karl all over the refs. That is a very difficult call. Sean Kemp and the rest of the Sonics just outrunning the Rockets up and down the floor. The last time down the court, when Akeem will come across and alter that shot, nobody gets in Sean Kemp's way. That is a big man's dream when you're going to rebound with nobody boxing you out.
2:55 to play in the first.
Practicing your dunks. You don't miss a lot of those.
Akeem with the turnaround. And Kemp with a rebound. 20-16, Seattle by 4. Vincent Askew on the floor for Seattle.
Vincent Askew was terrific in Game 3 Friday night here at the Summit. Really got the Rockets, the Sonics, excuse me, back in the game after the Rockets exploded early on.
Payton Followay is there.
Greg, we talked earlier this morning about how so much of the Sonics' demise in recent years in the playoffs has been an inability to score in the set offense. Payton, Kemp, and Shrimp have been masters in the set offense in this series.
Fans react to the muscling of Akeem in the middle, and then a long shot by Robert Horry.
Houston's losing their poise.
McMillan. And Ellie has the rebound. Rockets desperately need someone to take charge here in the early going. Ball stripped by Payton. Taken back by Olajuwon. And then he threw it away. Up ahead, Payton on Ellie. Foul. And he'll shoot 2. Gary Payton, such a disruptive force on defense.
Defensive player of the year. Stealing the ball. This game has been all Seattle so far. Their confidence, their poise has been fantastic.
All great cars are built from the ground up. But to build something truly extraordinary, we had to dig a little deeper. Introducing the new Acura CL Coupe. Further proof that luxury doesn't have to be boring.
Man, that's Grant Hill. Grant Hill drinks Sprite? Grant Hill drinks Sprite.
If you want to make it to the NBA, practice. If you want a refreshing drink, obey your thirst. Sprite. To earn this uniform, it takes years of practice. Or play the under the cap game with 1 in 6 chances of instantly winning free Sprite and Sprite Dream Team stuff.
We have a very special guest today. This is Jane's dad, and he is the manager at McDonald's.
Okay, just one at a time.
Do you know Ronald McDonald?
Yeah, I know Ronald, okay?
Do you get free food? Do you make the Big
Yes,
Mac?
I get to make Big Macs.
You make cheeseburgers?
Yes, I even get to make the Arch Deluxe.
Introducing the burger with the grown-up taste. McDonald's Arch Deluxe.
Wow, how'd they do that?
Pennzoil, Performax 100. 100% synthetic at a breakthrough price.
100% synthetic at a price this low? How'd they do that?
Leave it to Pennzoil to make synthetic affordable.
How'd they do that?
Hey, there's more. An extra $6 rebate on a case. Or $6 off on an oil change by the pros.
How'd they do that?
Pennzoil, a broadcast sponsor of NBC's coverage of the 1996 Olympic Summer Games.
Tonight at a special time, 8/7 Central.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
The network premiere of A Few Good Men at an early time tonight on NBC.
Hi, I'm Nate McMillan of the Seattle Supersonics. I'd like to wish my mother, Jeanette Tyson, in Garner, North Carolina, a happy Mother's Day. Mom, I'm sorry I can't be there. I got some unfinished work to be done in Houston. You know I'll see you soon. I love you, and enjoy your day.
I told Nate before the game that he's going to melt the heart of every mom in the audience with that message. Nate McMillan. Take a look at Akeem Olajuwon looking a little frustrated in the post.
Seattle has done their job in breaking the spirit of Houston. When you see Akeem begging for that ball, and he's waiting and waiting in there and can't get it. Those first signs of that surface in the second half Friday night here in Game 3. It's already evident in Game 4 here in the first quarter, where Seattle or Houston is saying, hey, I want the ball, and they can't get it.
First free throws of the afternoon for Seattle.
And Akeem has not touched the ball in the paint in the last 5 minutes.
He just touched that one, missed the tap though. The pass a little bit too high to handle, and Seattle has the basketball. Let's go over to Hannah Storm. Hannah.
Rudy T telling his very frazzled team, Greg, during the timeout, all you have to do is settle down a little bit. You're only hitting 1/4 of your shots. You got to read the defense and find the open man. But mostly he was just trying to calm these guys down, Greg.
All right, Hannah. Gary Payton scores in the lane. 25-16 as we come up on a minute to play in the first quarter. Sam Cassell off the bench. His shooting still not there. Horry with the rebound. Ellie had it stripped as he went down the lane. Got it back. Tapped up, no. And the rebound, well, foul goes against the Rockets.
Sean Kemp defensively has been terrific. All the little guys are stripping down low. Sean Kemp got a piece of that shot on the penetration by Ellie. Irvin Johnson now on the bench had 6 rebounds in the opening minutes, and everything is working perfectly for Seattle. As their set offense has just been precision. They're scoring at will. Payton can do exactly what he wants with no threat of opposition.
That foul was on Mark Bryant, and Sam Perkins will go to the line. Look at substitutions after the first. Frank Rakowski on for Seattle.
They bring in more outside shooters. They take Kemp out, but Rakowski can come in and stroke that 3. Akeem will take his rest. Rudy Tomjanovich was very patient before this game. He realizes the accomplishments of this championship team, the obstacles that they've had to overcome. It's a very proud organization and well-deserved.
Rockets have shot a miserable 21% here in the first quarter, and that's out of bounds to Houston. They have missed 10 of their last 11 from the floor.
It was good. It was good to see Sam Perkins be able to stroke the ball, because that hand injury he suffered Friday night looked to be very serious on the initial viewing.
Ellie for 3.
With Akeem out of there, no real need for Seattle to double team a lot in the post. They're so programmed in.
Seattle looking at the last shot of the quarter. Gary Payton with an eye on the clock. Down to 2. Askew on the drive, on the run, no. But what a quarter for Sean Kemp and the Seattle Sonics. As the Sonics look to close the defending champions out with 4 straight. Kemp with 16 points on 8 for 8 from the floor. He's also grabbed 5 rebounds. Seattle has set the tone. It's the Sonics 26 and the Rockets 18. We're back for the second quarter in just a moment. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Hello.
How's your butt ice? Doobie, doobie.
That's the 3rd one tonight.
It's okay. The police are tracing the call.
Hello.
this is the police. Those calls are coming from inside the house. Repeat, those calls are coming from inside the house.
Drink Bud Ice, but beware the penguins.
Sir? Sir?
This is for Mr. Blanchard, who told me to make something of myself. For Miss Miller, who never let me settle for a C. For my parents, who believe in my dreams. For myself, for my future.
Be all that you can be.
那你生意怎么了？
嗨，不太妙，市场部老是收不到工程部的最新数据。
你需要 Lotus Notes 在网络上自动复制更新的数据，这样每个人都可以随时得到最新的信息，甚至是环球网上。
这样就能知己知彼，百战百胜。
一点儿也没错。
Inside, every person who needs a minivan is someone who swore they'd never buy one. For that someone, Honda created Odyssey, with 4 doors and a fold-away third seat. It's the minivan for people who deep down inside aren't minivan people. Odyssey, the Honda of minivans.
The NBA on NBC. The 1996 NBA playoffs.
There is the birthday coach, George Karl, celebrating his 45th. He's always been a very emotional guy. Even his team says he's a little bit different this year. We talked to George.
It's night and day. It's huge. There were many nights last year that I couldn't handle coaching. I was ready to quit, and the game was not fun. And we won 57 games last year and just didn't enjoy it very much. This year's team is the exact opposite. This reminds me of the CBA a little bit, where we're pranksters and we're laughing a lot, and they ditch me a little bit, you know, and at least now I can take it. You know, 4 years ago I probably would have been throwing balls and trying to do something crazy. But I think being with the team for a long period of time has been rewarding. They know who I am. They know what I expect. They're tired of hearing me talk to them. So I don't talk that much to them, and but they still play hard for me, which is, I think, a big key.
Very important when a team takes its cue from his coach, as the Sonics do from George Karl.
Greg, the Sonics and their coach are showing terrific signs of maturity and development. The respect now for the opposition, they have terrific respect for the Houston Rockets, but they're coming out with solid focus. They know exactly what they have to do. So much of the trash talking is gone. And this is a team that's surging, that's gelling, and give a lot of the credit to Coach George Karl and the patience and the poise and the confidence that he's given everybody.
That foul was on Frank Bukowski, and now Bukowski has picked up another quick foul down low. That's 2 personals in about 6 seconds on Bukowski.
Frank Bukowski is a very skilled player, and no need to mix it up with Mark Bryant, who has not been much of a factor.
That's an offensive foul as Mario Elie pushed Gary Payton.
We're going to get a delay of game here.
And Joey Crawford says delay of game warning against the Rockets.
You just don't want to see the Houston Rockets with...
And now a technical foul has been called on Mario Elie. And this is just a loss of self-control here.
This is a championship team. Mario Elie, who was fabulous, but Mario Elie trying to get open here. Gary Payton, the defensive player of the year, just pushes him off, an obvious foul, and then he throws the ball away from the referee and then gets a technical. This team, the Rockets, has too much class to do things like that.
11:05 to play in the first half. Sonics have now opened up a 9-point lead, and then they have the basketball. Payton has gone to the bench. Askew, McMillan, Perkins, Bukowski, and Hawkins on the floor, and Sam Perkins.
Greg, there's another one of those extremely difficult shots that Perkins and Kemp and Schrempf have all made over the non-effective defense of the Rockets.
Ellie had it blocked, and it's out of bounds. And Seattle basketball? No, Houston. I want to remind you, tonight, Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, Demi Moore, the network premiere of a terrific movie, A Few Good Men. 8 o'clock, 7 Central here on NBC. There's a pretty good guy.
The main man. One of the greatest players in the history of basketball.
Drexler wants to clear out. Olajuwon. No. Grabs the rebound. Fights his way back up, and he'll go to the line. We talked about how the Sonics take their cue from George Karl. This is the guy who has to be rolling if the Rockets are going to get a cue at all.
When you look at their major victories over the last few years, the whipping of San Antonio last year in the conference finals, Orlando, New York 2 years ago in the final, it was always Akeem making the big plays, the turnaround fadeaway jumper. The two banners hanging in this building because of Akeem Olajuwon. But now this is a totally different opponent. Opponent that has been playing without a center, without a low post threat, and now Akeem has not been able to make that adjustment.
7 points for Akeem, 10-point lead for Seattle.
Talking to Akeem before the game, he said he was going to try a few new things, but does not get a lot of good looks.
Nate McMillan for 3. Oh, and the Sonics just knocking them down from outside.
You could sense it in the locker room before the game. The Sonics, the focus, the confidence.
Drexler just runs over Brakowski. Drexler feels he was fouled coming through the lane. No call. 9:49 to play. And the Rockets don't show the championship form.
Michael and the Bulls, Patrick and the Knicks. The thrills continue next on NBC.
The new Ford Taurus has people talking. Car and Driver noted it's wider, longer, and taller than before. Edward Armand says,
I'm amazed at its size. It's actually bigger than it looks.
Automobile Magazine calls it maybe the best family car ever made. And Maria Stylo adds,
I love it. I've never gotten so many compliments.
the new Ford Taurus. Now with $600 cash back, Taurus starts at just $17,945 or get 2.9% APR financing. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Get this. She wants to change her name from Heather to Feather.
Dad, recycle.
Bill's going nuts. Save the whales. Save the llamas. She's very picky about her food.
Fried chicken.
Bill thinks he's losing his little girl and his Kentucky Fried Chicken. So last night he brings him a bucket.
Hello.
And in it, he's got the original recipe and this new tender roast. It's in pieces. Yeah, it's a whole new deal.
Okay, this is new.
Bill's got his fried pieces. Heather's got her roasted pieces.
Thanks, Dad.
And I've just got peace.
New tender roast. Now any way you like it, roasted or fried, all you need is a little KFC.
On the Rue de Chaison, a minivan meets up with some adventurous souls. In a city by a bay, a Jaguar rendezvous with a resourceful accountant from Des Moines. We're in a simple business here at Budget Car and Truck Rental. It's about joining the right vehicles together with the right individuals all over the world. And when you see people as individuals, it makes a big difference in the way you treat them. Budget, all the difference in the world.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by the all-new Ford Taurus, a look you've never seen from a name you know well. By Nike, who encourages you to participate in the lives of America's youth. And by Snickers. Hungry? Why wait?
We've spoken about the Rockets losing their poise. Clyde Drexler to the hoop, as all of the Rockets have failed to do today. They can't control the ball down low, the swiping, and then Clyde just runs over Frank Brakowski, turns around and argues with veteran quality official Joe Crawford, earns himself a technical free throw. Not a good day so far for the two-time defending champion Houston Rockets.
The Rockets have made just 6 shots from the floor. They have turned the ball over 5 times already today, shooting just 25% from the floor. Hersey Hawkins makes it a 35-21 Houston lead, or Seattle lead. Let's go over to Hannah Storm. Hannah.
Well, Greg, there was a huge debate during that timeout about whether or not to take Clyde Drexler out of the game with the 3 fouls. Rudy Tomjanovich knows they need his offense, but also knew he was in foul trouble. And Clyde was determined to come back in the game. That took up almost the entire timeout, the discussion between the two. But as you can see, Rudy got the final call on that one, Greg.
Sean Kemp, now 9 for 9 from the floor this afternoon.
Clyde Drexler was in foul trouble in Game 3. Sam Cassell ineffective on offense, but again, the difficult shots by the forwards for Seattle.
Ellie misfires on the 3, tapped out of bounds by the Sonics.
Sean Kemp gets the ball, 1 pump fake, it doesn't go down. Generally, you don't execute a shot that you just faked, but that's how well Seattle is playing right now. You're talking about going against Akeem Olajuwon. That's an illegal defense right there. You cannot double team Akeem when he doesn't have the ball.
And the fans giving the officials a standing ovation here.
Akeem Olajuwon in the low post. They come down quickly. Seattle anticipates that ball going in. They read that very well. But I think Houston has been guilty of being too casual on feeding the ball in to Akeem. I think you got to zip it in there so that he gets it quickly and can either make a move or establish himself before the defense gets there.
That one thrown away. Another turnover by the Rockets.
This is a 15-point game.
Kemp.
Good ball movement.
And Askew to the basket, and he's fouled hard by Olajuwon. A few of the Sonics running to the rescue.
Akeem was fined early in the week for some elbows that were undetected by the officials in Game 1. Fined $5,000 by the league.
So Askew to the line to shoot 2. As you mentioned, Vincent Askew has been doing some quality work coming off the bench for the Sonics.
Askew, McMillan, and Perkins, it's the soul of that bench unit that George Karl loves to go to. They got the explosive guys who start, the guys like Kemp and Payton who are playing so under control in such a disciplined game now at this point in their career. Then he can bring in guys who can do everything, and Askew's one of them.
Well, Bryant gets Kemp in the air and then overshoots. Bukowski with the rebound. Houston has no one who has a hot hand on the floor.
Look at that ball movement.
Hawkins for 3. And Rudy Tomjanovich says, we got to search for another.
Frank Bukowski, real solid contribution off the bench as a backup center.
8:32 to play. The Seattle Sonics on a mission. The defending champions are the victims so far.
Climate is right for change. People don't want someone coming out of left field, and they sure don't want somebody who plays too far right. Griffey's in the center, perfectly positioned.
In this country, it's the bottom of the 9th. 2 outs. We're behind. We need Junior. We need a hit.
Pennsylvania, Key State, not a good state for Griffey. Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, both National League teams.
We've had an actor. Why not a center fielder?
If you can hit an Oral Hershiser slider, there's no reason to believe that you can't hit welfare reform.
They've got their elephants. They got their donkeys. We got our moose.
Man, that Ken Griffey for president thing's a straight-up sellout. Nothing but a big marketing scheme.
This is not, I repeat, not a marketing scheme.
Don't you have to be 35 to be president?
Well, that's what the Constitution says. I mean, if you're going to pay attention to that kind of stuff, yeah.
The loads are getting heavier, and the stumps are just getting more stubborn. You're working harder than ever. You need a truck that does too. Meet the all-new 1997 Ford F-150. Our new Trident V8 cranks out even more power and torque. Our V6 out muscles every standard truck engine in its class. And the first scheduled tune-up's 100,000 miles away. After all, the road's not getting any shorter. The new Ford F-150. Strength after strength after strength.
There's a 2-inch thick line, 22 feet from the basket that knows me well. I always know where it is, but I won't let it break my concentration. It comes from practice, hour after hour, shot after shot, until I forget that line, until I forget the gym, everything. That's when my stroke is pure.
This summer, NBC News and Microsoft will bring you a 24-hour cable news channel and online service that will have no rival. MSNBC. It's time to get connected.
Well, the last time the Rockets lost a playoff series, it was at the hands of the Sonics. Game 7, 93 playoffs, trailing by 3 in overtime. The Rockets missed on last-second shots by Vernon Maxwell and Hakeem Olajuwon. The Sonics held on to take Game 7 and the series. That's pretty much been the history between these two teams. The Rockets have never beaten the Sonics in the postseason. 82, 87, 89, 93, and are within 1 game of being knocked out in 4 straight here in 96.
The Rockets have never been swept in a playoff series, but the moves that Seattle made, bringing in Detlef Schrempf, bringing in Hersey Hawkins and Frank Brickowski to the core group, that's been the difference in Seattle's move, and Houston just cannot score.
Horry. No one to light a fire for the Houston Rockets on offense.
Greg Hanna was telling me during the timeout that the Rudy Tomjanovich huddle was not a pleasant sight. He was lambasting the team about their lack of defensive effort. But Seattle's offense is perfect. I mean, they missed that shot there, but they get the ball right back. No, Brickowski was already out of bounds.
We'll remind you, coming up next, Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinals between 2 of the biggest rivals in the NBA. Patrick Ewing and the Knicks try to even up the series. They battle Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Knicks and Bulls square off next as the NBA playoffs continue in prime time on NBC. Sam Cassell has been fighting the sore elbow and various other ailments. He's a guy who is usually an igniter on offense.
But he's had to go head-to-head against Gary Payton, and no one has had success with that this year.
Hawkins weaves his way through the defense. 43-25. Hersey Hawkins has 7.
There's that quick double team, and now they catch Hakeem along the baseline. And when he starts leaning off of that center of gravity, that's when the defense just closes in. That time, McMillan and Brickowski, as Hakeem gets to the baseline, see how they just slide right in very, very tight. Very reminiscent of the way the Rick Pitino Kentucky Wildcats played in the college tournament this year.
Frank Brickowski had terrific position, but then reached in with that right hand and drew his 3rd foul, and he goes to the bench. Taken away.
Not good basketball by the Houston Rockets, by any stretch of the imagination.
Hawkins on the move. And Olajuwon with the ball. Fans wanted a foul called on Sean Kemp. Cassell back for a 3. No. And the long outlet for Payton. Spins. And Askew can't get the rebound. 43-25 as we come up on 6.5 to play here in the first half. Rockets will go back to Olajuwon. Across the lane, goes back and scores.
Look what happens when Hakeem keeps the ball in the triple threat position, down low and in front of him. His defender has to step away, and that gives Hakeem the room to operate.
Horry with the block on Askew, and Kemp fouled. No shot.
When Hakeem steps away from the basket, something he hasn't done much, he keeps it down low. Perkins has to respect the drive. He backs up, and then the head fake allows him to make that penetration and drive.
Hakeem has drawn his 2nd personal.
Gary Payton is telling the referee, Joe Crawford, hey, throw me the ball, please.
Make a play.
Quit bouncing it off my leg. And there's a cross screen foul. Trying to deny Sean Kemp.
And Cassell's first. What do you think George Karl wants for a birthday present today?
George Karl wants to go home a very happy man.
Out of the corner, Kemp. His first miss of the afternoon, and Perkins with the basketball.
And I think that George Karl, regardless of the outcome of this game, will go home a happy man. At worst, they'll be up 3-1. And that home court advantage in the Key Arena in Seattle has proved terrific.
Number 2 on Sam Cassell, as Payton will go to the line now to shoot a couple. Gary Payton averaging over 22 a game in the postseason, almost 7 assists and 2 steals a game. And goes into double figures now with his 10th point of the afternoon.
Gary Payton as a Defensive Player of the Year this year. You look at his numbers, led the NBA in steals. He's the first guard to win the award since Michael Jordan in 1988. Since '88, and it was Jordan, it's been all the big guys, Hakeem, David Robinson. Dennis Rodman was thrown in there for a year or so.
45-27. Horry, tough drive. Scoop doesn't go. Kemp with the rebound and the outlet for Payton. And Hersey Hawkins on the receiving end.
The pump fake of Sean Kemp's outlet pass was fabulous. That just set that whole play up, and Gary Payton can finish as well as anyone on the break.
Mark Bryant gets the basket, and he'll go to the line. As the Rockets try to hang in here with just over 5 minutes to play in the first half.
The last fast break, this pump fake there, that freezes Hakeem Olajuwon, gets him in the air and allows Gary Payton to get out. And then he gets in the air, drawing the defenders. He could have thrown it up on the backboard, and whatever the Sonics are doing, it's perfect in this entire series.
I think Rudy T would have to agree with you, standing over there on the far side looking for a solution.
The way you had success in the past against Seattle was to get them in a half-court game and let Kemp come in the lane and start double clutching and throwing up wild shots, getting over the back offensive rebound fouls.
Blocking foul on Robert Horry as Payton hits the deck. It's also a smarter Seattle team. They're much more confident about what they can do as they go about their business.
A little handoff there by Detlef Schrempf. Robert Horry steps way out and bumps Payton. It is a much smarter Seattle team. You look at the overall development of Payton and Kemp, who are the undisputed stars of this team. I mean, Houston wins with Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler. Seattle wins with Payton and Kemp. And remember, these are young players just getting started. This would, if Sean Kemp had gone to college, this would be his 4th year in the NBA, which is about when guys start really taking off.
Rudy Tomjanovich says we want a 20-second timeout here, and that stops the clock with 4:56 to play here in the first half. Sonics lead it by a score of 48-29, and this is a team that has taken a lot of grief from its fans the last couple of years. Great expectations, an early exit from the postseason, but look at what they've done so far here in the series. Second half scoring, Sonics 64-31. That's closing out your opposition.
In game 2, a terrific game. All kinds of three-point shot records broken. Nate McMillan, 5 for 5 from behind the line. That ties Byron Scott's record in the NBA, as well as Brad Davis. Game 3, another nail-biter right down to the very last minute. Detlef Schrempf, 28 points.
Kemp and Payton have combined for 30 points. The Rockets had 29 until Cassell hit that one. 48-31 Sonics.
Sam Cassell wearing that elbow pad. He's been wearing it ever since he came in the NBA. He did not wear it for the first time Friday night, and he only had 2 points. He told me before the game, I'm going right back to the pad. Look at this set offense here by Seattle. Discipline, they get what they want.
Hawkins takes the bump and goes down the lane. Hersey Hawkins has 11. 50-31 Seattle. Mark Bryant sees the double team and goes back outside.
Seattle's so programmed to double team. Again, they're double teaming Mark Bryant.
Bryant muscles his way inside and hits.
Mark Bryant, who has been a very positive factor for the Rockets this year, not been able to distinguish himself in this series.
What a shrimp breaking free down low.
What a pass. Gary Payton just picking him apart. And again, the forwards making extremely difficult shots. And as opposed to game one, which we did, Greg, the forwards for Seattle, they're not thinking about or looking for Akeem anymore at this point on the defensive end for Akeem.
Game one was a tie game at halftime before it turned into a party in the second half for the Sonics.
Seattle foul number 40, Sean Kemp.
Sean Kemp commits his third.
Greg, you mentioned the early playoff round exits the last couple of years for Seattle. And one of the things that's really different about this year's team, and talking to George Karl and the rest of the players about it, is the respect that they have for the opposition. This is not coming in anymore playing against Denver or the Lakers and thinking they can just come in and win at any time. The respect that Seattle has for the Houston Rockets is supreme, and it's one of the reasons why they're so focused.
We have 3:27 to play here in the first half, and Sean Kemp, with 3 personals, is going to stay on the floor.
And that's a mistake.
It's 52-35.
But the way it's gone for Seattle, it'll probably work out perfectly for them.
They haven't made too many mistakes for this series.
When you're up 3-0 and 20 points in the fourth game before the half.
Horry with the steal, up ahead, Ellie. And George Karl wants timeout. Terrific defensive play by Robert Horry turned into a fast break basket for Mario Ellie and the Rockets, who are trying to stay close. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me.
Your turn, man.
When you've got the great taste of an ice cold Miller Lite, life is good.
I think she digs you. Really?
Beyond the sea, somewhere.
When Dave Thomas created Wendy's Spicy Chicken Sandwich, he used a whole breast fillet seasoned with his own blend of pepper and spices, but did he go too far?
Very spicy.
Wimp. It's perfect.
Depends on who you ask. Try Wendy's Spicy Chicken Sandwich.
Imagine your feet are under attack by many flesh-eating predators. That's athlete's foot. To cure them all, you have to kill them all. Lotramin AF. Full prescription strength medicine. The brand doctors recommend most. Lotramin AF. The killer cure.
There are all kinds of reasons we designed Ford Windstar to be so safe, with over 40 standard safety features, including dual airbags and anti-lock brakes. Reasons it received 5 stars, the highest possible rating in government crash tests, higher than any other minivan. In fact, there are so many reasons we designed Ford Windstar as safe as we did, it's impossible to pick our favorite one. Ford Windstar, now available with $1,000 cash back.
There were early hints of gymnastic greatness from this American born in L.A. to Romanian parents. Last year at 13, Dominique Moceanu became the youngest ever senior American champion. In Atlanta, the all-round could mean gold. Her dreams will take her to the Olympics on NBC.
Coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report, we'll hear some interesting comments from Bulls coach Phil Jackson on his team's series with the Knicks and on his coaching future. Chicago and New York will be coming up from Madison Square Garden after the Sonics and Rockets. The Bulls, of course, now lead it 2-1. And also, as part of our continuing effort to chronicle the life and times of Dennis Rodman, we'll have an excerpt from his appearance last night on Saturday Night Live. Right now, the Rockets are just trying to stay alive, but they trail the Sonics by 15. Back to the summit we go to rejoin Greg, Bill, and Hannah.
All right, Bob, and there's Sean Kemp. And a few moments ago, Bill Walton said how stupid it was. Actually, he said it was a mistake to keep Sean Kemp in the game with 3 personals, but The official scorers have taken one earlier personal away, so Kemp has just 2 with 3:02 to play here in the first half.
And my retraction is officially in place.
And sincere.
Absolutely. You never take a guy out with just 2 fouls.
Rockets rebound the Payton miss and come back and try to improve.
Bench scoring for Houston much better today. A lot of that coming from Bryant, Ellie, and Cassell.
Shot clock is at 5. Cassell open for a 3.
Kemp missed. Payton streaking out. The Rockets' defensive rotation, they're hanging in on the offensive end. Payton has been able to leak out. Look at the quickness by Gary Payton.
Great save by Payton Shrimp. And foul by Mark Bryant, who got a little too close. The fans are up in arms, but Mark Bryant knew it as soon as it happened.
Gary Payton, one of the quickest players, so under control now. And again, his teammates, Hersey Hawkins, responding, knowing that they can expect terrific plays like that from Gary Payton.
Detlef Schrempf with 5 today. Terrific game 3 for him, 28 points and 5 assists.
His post-up ability, they really have not had an answer. Houston has not had an answer. I mean, Horry is a outstanding. I think Horry is one of the best defensive forwards in basketball, and Detlef has been torching him. Mark Bryant, Chucky Brown, non-factors defensively.
2 minutes to play in the first half. Hakeem.
Look at Hakeem going to the basket that time. Hakeem, 11th point in the game. None of this fading away stuff today. Houston going to a trap in Seattle with an answer for everything. Flashing a ball handler into the middle.
Payton for 3. And that'll be a loose ball foul on Sam Perkins.
Hakeem still a little bit slow on the entry pass. Hakeem, a very late double team. That's one of the best looks he's had this week.
And it's been a long week for the Houston Rockets.
It's so disappointing and so frustrating. This is a team, Houston, that truly believes that they are the best team in basketball. And why not? They've won 2 championships. They've beaten all comers. The injuries have wrecked so much of the regular season.
Rockets have improved their shooting from the field here in the second quarter. They hit just 25% in the first quarter. They're up close to 50% here in the second.
But the tough thing for Hakeem is that he's just not getting the opportunities, the shot attempts. Here's a guy who's only taken 14 shots per game in this series. He's got a career playoff average of 21 shots per game, and last year in the playoffs, 26 shots per game to get the title, and only 14 per game against Seattle this year.
54-41 Sonics, 125 to play. Shrimp on the nice pass in from Hersey Hawkins.
What is Houston thinking? Double team in the corner to allow Detlef Schrempf to make a layup?
Ellie open for a 3.
Emblematic of this series. In and out on the shot, a mistimed rebound by Horry, and then Shawn Kemp leading the team, leading the series on the glass.
And at the other end, Hersey Hawkins a 3. Horry with the rebound.
Shawn Kemp, no silly fouls here, under a minute.
And Ellie on the run. Looked like a bad pass when it started out from Robert Horry, but Ellie converted it for 2. 56-43, last 40 seconds now of the first half.
Ellie is to the Rockets what McMillan and Perkins are to the Sonics. Oh, Shawn Kemp, he hit the first elbow. Shawn Kemp's first elbow into Ellie's upper chest area, uncalled.
Foul is on Hakeem, and that's 3 on Olajuwon.
And Clyde has 3 as well. Clyde, a non-factor. Maybe he'll be fresh. Clyde Drexler for the second half.
There's Drexler on the bench.
Clyde won't say it, but his knee is killing him. He just had surgery down the stretch of the season. Dream Team member, not 92. Future Hall of Famer.
Drexler has just 2 points this afternoon. Kemp hits the second of 2. 57-43. 19 points for Kemp. Cassell looking for a way through the traffic. Now kicks it outside. Top of the key. Sam Mack. And Detlef Schrempf has the rebound. Ori stripped it away, but the Sonics come back with it.
Sonics forwards are really rebounding the ball fabulously.
Schrempf, offensive foul with 3 seconds to play. Detlef can't believe it's on him.
You see a little bit of a swing right now. The crowd trying to bring their beloved Rockets back. This lead is very strong, no. Realistic, well-established, obvious foul there.
Sam Cassell drew the charge. 3 seconds to play here in the first half. Cassell to the half court and tosses it up and off the mark.
That's the end of the first half.
The big men, the ones these teams look to. Hakeem Olajuwon, 11 points, 2 rebounds, while Sean Kemp has been 9 of 10 from the floor and 19 points. He's grabbed 10 rebounds. Part of the reason why the Sonics lead 57-43. The Prudential halftime report coming up right after this.
The new Ford Taurus has people talking. Road and Track says the new V6 is a high-strung engine born to gallop. Chris Hayward said,
I'm surprised. A car this comfortable has that much pickup.
Automobile Magazine named Taurus Design of the Year. And Ray Wells agrees.
The new shape is just fantastic. Ford finally got me.
The new Ford Taurus. Now with $600 cash back, Taurus starts at just $17,945 or get 2.9% APR financing. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Announcing Goodyear's Race Day NBA playoffs.